Hi, uh, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second edition of the Labour Law Connects. Well, my name is Utya Das. I'm part of the leadership team here in Team Lee's Regtech. This is my second stint. I've just returned after to Team Lee's Regtech after a tenure with Teleperformance. I've spent about 10 years in the compliance space. With me, I have my colleagues from the SME and legal teams, Havyas and Yashashri. Havyas is based out of Bangalore and he heads our legal practice. He has about 18 years of experience in labor laws. He has worked for multiple organizations like Microland and Compliance, amongst others. Yashashri is amongst the younger members of our team. She is a LLM and an LLB and really helps in interpreting a lot of our laws and gets it into action. We have been this is the second edition of the Labor Law Connect, and we and part of a much wider set of activities in terms of knowledge sessions that we are planning to do in the days to come. We will be doing a lot more fireside chats with certain experts. We'll be doing webinars on transactional labor law compliances, amongst many other activities. So, request you to kindly follow our pages on the social channels. Plus, please wait for our email invites that will keep hitting your inboxes. With that, I will pass on the baton to Havyas and Yashashri to take you through the entire session. Havyas, Yashashri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Utya, for the warm introduction. So I thank all the attendees who all joined with us for today's session. So today's session we are going to cover National Labour and Social Security Policy updates, EPFO and ESIC reforms, fair measures, ease of doing business reforms, complaints checklist and takeaways. Let's begin with the central notification. One of the major notification, the Ministry of Labour and Employment released a draft of the National and Employment Policy, that is Shram Shakti 2025, for stakeholders consultation. This is the first integrated national framework to align India's labour governance. So key proposals here, one is universal social security. This includes creation of a universal social security account including EPFO, ESC, eShram and state welfare measures for all the category of workers. Second would be digital public infrastructure for employment. This includes upgrading the National Career Service into National AI-driven employment. Next one will be ease of complaints. A single window digital complaints portal allowing unified registration, filing and self-certification across labor laws. The fourth one will be occupation and health and safety. This aims for implementation of the OSH Code 2020 through digital inspections, risk-based audits. The last one will be women and youth empowerment. Here the government is focused on measures to increase female labor participation to 35% by 2030 and expand the apprenticeship and entrepreneurship as well. You want
Sure.
Here?
So the policy is just not the revision of the labor laws. This is a major shift of the Indian labor governance together. The vision is to bring inclusiveness, equitability, resilience of the world of workers, where every worker, formal, informal, migrant, gig workers, enjoys their dignity, protection, opportunity aligned with the goals of Viksit Bharat, which is given in the policy itself. So they have repositioned it. The MOL, which the Ministry of Labour and Employment, has explicitly redefined the proactive employment facilitators that rather than traditional regulators and inspectors. So the foundation pillars, as given in the policies, dignity and equality of the laborers, the universal inclusiveness, the cooperative federalism, and data-driven governance. They have majorly focused on strategies, that is universal social security accounts, where EPFO, eShram, as sir you have rightly mentioned. Also, long life coverage are also given, that the workers across the jobs, states or sectors, formal or informal, are all covered under this. So this is a single window portal, a national digital portal where registrations, filings, self certifications will be done, and drastic reduce of paperwork and integration of multiple agencies will be deducted. So also, risk based governance is also given. The policy moves away the random inspections and risk of the compliance and formalization. So the sharp reduction in the informal employment is also given. Simplified compliance is actually done. And when it comes to youth and women empowerment, female labor participation in the workforce has to increase till 2030 is their major goal. Their roadmap has given into 3 phases overall. It is 2025 to 27, phase 1, which is institutional setup, where districts, states, nations, labor commission together will bring this together. Second phase, 2027 to 30, where nationwide rollout of the national universal social security account will be implemented and skill credit system will start. And third is digital later on, where this paperless governance and all will take flow. So this is to bring smoothness, ease of doing business is what's focused here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shashi. Next slide. We have significant from employment for organization. They have streamlined the process by merging 13 complex rules into 3 categories, that is essential needs, housing and special. If you look at the existing withdrawal options that is available for illness, housing, finance, for purchase of a delivery house at special cases like a lockdown affected by cut in electricity, withdrawal from the fund for repayment of housing loans, financing for unemployment in 1 year before the retirement, etc. Essential needs. Under the essential, they have covered under the special natural disaster complaints for partial withdrawal without any reason. Importantly, they reduced to 12 months for all partial withdrawal process. So now member can withdraw 100% of eligible balance. Now we need to understand what is eligible balance, what is minimum balance. For example, if you are having 100 rupees in your account, including employee and employer share and accumulated interest by EPFO, you can withdraw only 75%. That is the eligible balance. You cannot withdraw fully 100% from your EPFO balance. And also, frequency for access for education, you can withdraw 10 times, and marriage up to 5 times you can withdraw. And for illness, you can withdraw 3 times during the financial year. And this for marriage and education, that is considered your lifetime membership. One more important thing mentioned here, unemployment withdrawal.
We were talking about the simplified withdrawals and digitalization, where the frequency of the excess was given for the education purpose, marriage purpose. For education purpose, for the whole lifetime, 10 times can be withdrawn. For marriage purpose, 5 times can be withdrawn. Illness, 3 times, and this comes under special circumstances. for the financial year, and special circumstances also 2 times under the specific financial year. So this previous rule was means the contribution has to be kept 25% and 75% can be withdrawn overall. So this aims to 100% automation and zero documentation overall is focused on. This is also focusing to the ease of doing business. Moving on to the next slide, we have enrollment campaign. Where this enrollment campaign, the ministry is allowing us to make all the compliances which we were not able to do. For example, the employee has joined between the period given as 1st July 2017 to 31st October 2025, and he or she was not enrolled. In such cases, the employer, when it comes to the contribution, the penalties and the percentage has increased, and thus the monetary compensation, obviously monetary penalty increases. That's why we see many employers do not able to contribute to the or have to do the compliance. So the waiver of such contribution, the employees is done, and the flat penalty of ₹100 has been imposed. The very basic objective is that the voluntary compliance is done and regularization is done. After the period, the employer can comply. Moving on to the next, we have Form 5A display order, where the very first we need to understand what Form 5A displays about. Form 5A has contents about the establishment name, operational area, everything that defines even the board members. Now the displays, the mandate has been made that the displays has to be there where the workplace entrance visible to all the employees and even on the organization's website. The motive behind this is when the employee needs to reach to the management or any other person, easily accessible, accessibility is there. Also, accessibility to the inspector when inspections are going on is also a motive for this compliance. Moving on to the next, we have zero contribution days. The zero contribution days means where the employer, even though the employee has resigned and moved out of the organization, has also kept him in the system as 0 working days. If such employer actions are being found by the inspector, this will be treated as an offense under section 85E, where false returns are treated and penalty is also imposed. The immediate removal of such exited employee is the active and immediate action has to be taken, and regional audits and verifications will be also done according to this notification. Data integration and transparency is overall the motive behind this. Let's move on to the state labor reforms. We have Maharashtra Shop and Establishment Amendment, where the ordinance is being published. Very first, we need to understand what is ordinance. Sir, would you like to explain this?
Okay. The Maharashtra Shop and Establishment Act Service Condition 2017 has been amended through Ordinance 2025. We need to understand what is ordinance. Ordinance is essentially a temporary law issued by the executive body of the central state when legislative body is not in the session. So this ordinance brought several key changes under the Maharashtra Shop and Establishment Service Condition Act 2017. The first thing is the applicability. The applicability has been changed from 10 employees to 20. Now the Shop and Establishment Act is applicable if you are having more than 20 employees. The second thing will be your daily working hours. Previously it was 9 hours. It has been extended to 10 hours. Your interval for rest has been changed to 5 to 6 hours. Spread out hours, that includes daily working hours, interval for rest, and overtime. That shall not get that has been changed from 10.5 hours to 12 hours. And your total overtime hours, previously it was 125 hours per quarter. Now it has been changed to 144 hours. Yashasri, can you move on to the next slide?
Yes.
The Goa Goa Dominant Diu Shop and Establishment Act 1973 has been repealed and replaced by the Goa Shops and Establishment Regulation of Employment and Service Condition Act 2025. The CREEP provisions here, within 60 days from the commencement of business or the act, every employer shall apply for the registration through online portal. The working hours has been mentioned 10 hours in a day and 48 hours in a week. If any employee is working more than 48 hours, the employer must provide the overtime. And also they brought the night shift provision. The employer has to either the condition mentioned if they are employing any female employees during the night shift. And they also introduced online registration, amendment, and renewal. The most of the important concept here, deemed approvals. If any inspector fails to approve registration, amendment, or renewal within 7 working days, then it will be considered as deemed approval. Then registers and records can be maintained electronically, and every employer has to provide 6 casual leave, 9 sick leave, and 15 earned leave. Maximum carry forward for the earned leave 45 days. However, you cannot carry forward casual and sick leave. And also they brought the several welfare measures: first aid, drinking water, latrines, and urinals. Also, every employer shall provide the touch facilities if you are having more than 50 employees. 50 employees, they clearly mention, irrespective of male or female employees. The canteen facility shall be provided if you are having more than 100 employees. Let's just move on to the next slide.
Yes.
The Telangana introduced exemption for small establishment. Here, small establishment means establishment those who are having less than 10 employees for enhance the ease of doing business. Now, section 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 16, 17, 18, 24, 30, 37, 38, and 47, which talks about registration, renewal, daily and weekly working hours, winter forest, maternity leave, overtime wages, time of payment of wages, conditions for terminating services, and payment of service compensation has been exempted for small establishment. However, other provisions of the Act would be applicable as it is. The government of Haryana has introduced digital governance for factory approvals. So as per this notification now, every occupier can apply for the exemption under the section 55 and 65 of the Factory Act. This exemption will be available only for occupiers those who are having valid factory license. Now they can apply for the exemption through online portal, and they have enabled the online self-certification portal, and that there is no manual intervention, manual submission required. Yashasri, you want to add anything here?
Sure. So this is also done with the motive of getting things streamlined and ease of doing business, where you have correctly mentioned self-certification portal where digital governance will be done. Reduction of manual intervention and transparency is what focused on. Section 55, which talks about the holiday and exemption of weekly off, and section 65, which talks about the exemption regarding the working hours overtime under the Factories Act, where significant reduction of such timelines is also done. Online inspection is scheduled instantly with the acknowledgement. This provides predictability and efficient compliance checks. Reduction of approval timelines, manual interference, ease of doing business is the basic motive, and control based approach is the motive here. Compliance friendly system where the factories under Haryana are going to enjoy now. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Yashasri. Move on to the next slide. The Haryana government issued a new guidelines for women working during the night shift, replacing the earlier notification which was published on 5th July 2025. So, as per the notification, now they have increased the wider applicability. If you look at the previous notification, the exemption would be applicable only for banking, ITATS, and hotels. Now it has been extended to shops and establishments. And mandatory written consent need to be obtained from the woman employee. Employer must comply under the POSH Act. CCTV camera coverage is mandatory both inside the premises and surrounding of the establishment. Proper and adequate lighting must be provided. Sufficient security guards must be deployed. A free transportation facility must be provided. Every vehicle must be equipped with a security facility like a GPS tracking. No woman should be first to be picked up and last to be dropped off. A minimum 4 female employees must be present during the night shift. However, relaxation has been given for ITIT sector. For senior woman employee who is drawing wages more than 1 lakh rupees, they can take the exemption from this provision. And employer must ensure proper medical facility. Importantly, women are not allowed to work during the night shift for a period of 12 weeks before and after the childbirth. These are the condition has to be followed by the employer. So we have notification from the Madhya Pradesh government. One is for the factory and one is for the SND amendment. Under the SND, they have amended for the section 11, which talks about hours of work in the establishment. So they made amendment for the section 11. Earlier it was the overtime limit was 6 hours in a week, has been amended to 144 hours per quarter. Also, they brought changes in the factory as well. The prohibition relating to pregnant women and young persons. It is this word substituted with the pregnant or lactating women in hazardous process. Yashasri, you want to add anything here?
Sure. So, as you have correctly said, that the prohibition relating to pregnant women and younger person was there. This was mentioned under every other schedule, and whatever prohibitions were made to this such person was now replaced with the word or substituted with the word pregnant, employing pregnant women and lactating women. So, working in prohibition of working in hazardous place, working after specific work hours, late night hours, after 10 p.m. is what the provisions given in the Factories Act. The definition or the word changing itself has brought major shift towards protecting the pregnant and lactating women, we'll say mothers also. So over to you, sir.
Can you move on to the next slide, please? The Karnataka cabinet has cleared and approved the ministerial bill. The bill must be published in the official gazette for public input. Following, it will be enacted as act, which will include effective date and other condition as well. We are getting a lot of queries on this topic. So it is in the bill state and in the legislature, and it's not yet officially published or enforced. As per the bill, every woman employee has to get 1 paid leave per month, and this is universal application. This would be applicable government offices as well as private sector. Ashasri, you want to add anything here?
Sure. So the very first to recognize the menstrual health at work as a workplace health, such provision or need was required, and menstrual leave along with the minimum hygiene safeguards has also been introduced under this policy. The bill seeks to reduce health-related productivity loss, improve retention and workplace inclusivity, ensuring basic menstrual hygiene facilities along with dignity and privacy. So, as you have correctly mentioned, that the applicability is for all the establishment, private or public sector, but the eligibility of the women has also been clearly defined under this, where all the women employees, be it temporary, contractual basis, permanent, fixed term, anything, all are employed under the specific establishment are covered, but up to age of 55 years are shall be eligible for the menstrual leave, where one paid menstrual leave each calendar month will be provided. Unused menstrual leave to be encashed or carry forward compensated is totally discretionary power of the companies or the establishment. But the implementations of hygiene facilities such as clean toilets, running water, hand wash, etc., disposable bins, sanitary products, vending machines are mandatory to be provided. Record keeping. The confidential leave register has to be maintained with no mandatory medical certificate for this leave has to be produced. No discrimination has to be there. Explicitly for the means the provision for this prohibition is given under the bill, when no adverse effect on promotion, pay, assignments, or anything, contract renewal, or anything should be there due to this menstrual leave. Awareness training programs has to be done. Penalties for non-compliant has also been mentioned in under the bill, and monitoring, specifically the annual reports which will be submitted to the state labor department, where the privacy of the women is given, when no personal identifiers are to be mentioned under the returns. So this is a great step towards making inclusiveness. Over to you, sir.
Can you move on to the next slide?
Yeah.
So the Pondicherry issued a notification which allows women work in a factory until 10 p.m. But however, employer must provide the transport facility, and also they cannot work between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. And every employer has to comply under Section 54, and Form 11 complies mandatory under the Factory Act. So Section 54 talks about working hours for adult workers, and Form 11 talks about prescribed form for notice period of works for adult workers, which shall be displayed in the premises. The government of Bihar has revised its worker classification system specifically for the purpose of minimum wages computation. The updated classification provides clear definition on who is unskilled, semi-skilled, skilled, and highly skilled. So as per the classification now, unskilled means work does not require any skill and entry-level workers with basic tasks. Semi-skilled means workers with some training and experience. Skilled means trained professionals with expertise and they have education qualifications. Highly skilled means advanced specialists and technical experts. Those will be considered as a highly skilled employees. So there was a challenge for employer for determining the minimum wages for each category. So as per this notification, it is easy for an employer to determine the minimum wages fixation for various category of employment. So Delhi state government has given the circular, and they warned all the public and private establishment for the fake circular which has been circulated through online. And Delhi state government has cleared that they have not released any minimum wages revision effective from 1st October 2025. So there was a notification, maybe you might have received this kind of notification in the last month, in the October month. So now it's very clear, the last revision for the minimum wages in Delhi effective from 1st April 2025. Okay. Lakshadweep has released the draft social security rules. Majorly, they focused on unorganized gig and platform workers to provide the legal recognition and benefits. Yashasvi, you want to add anything here?
Sure. So starting with the gig workers. Gig workers are basically this unorganized platform workers. For example, take a delivery guy, Zomato, from Swiggy, Zomato, or any other. So as these were under the platform and they did not have these benefits which were given specifically to the employers, provident fund, state insurance maybe, or gratuity. So the Social Security Code itself from 2020 has brought this change from the central and state governments also to create a specific welfare schemes for these workers to be funded by the combination of government, workers, and aggregators. Aggregators are these companies, Ola, Zomato, Swiggy, which I give an example. So the role of Lakshadweep's draft rules are now is that the Central Code of Social Security 2020 has given this foundation, and the Lakshadweep has implemented it. So they have this feature of mandatory registration where gig platform workers must self-register electronically themselves on central government's Shram Suvidha portal using Aadhaar and OTP, which is their general practice. And this formal registration will bring them into a system, making them eligible for future social security schemes. Once registered, the workers will be issued unique registration number, and this ID will allow workers to get benefits across the different platform schemes without duplications. Workers must regularly update their details like occupation, address, skills to remain eligible for various schemes that are being introduced. And then responsibility to ensure the workers are registered lies with the Lakshadweep administration or the state, whichever brings the notification, and relevant welfare boards and employers aggregators together must ensure that this registration is done. The rules lay down the groundwork of schemes for providing life and disability cover, accident insurance, health, maternity benefits, even old age protections are also given. Along with that, any grievance redressal system that is very much effective and must be implemented through the aggregators throughout their portal or account. This has extended the social security to the rapid growing gig economy. Over to you, sir.
Again, we have one more notification from Lakshadweep. The Lakshadweep has released the draft Occupational Health and Safety Code 2025. So, as per the rule, now every establishment has to take the OSH code if they're having more than one employee. That is mandatory. However, it's in the draft stage, and mandatory formal appointment letter for every employee has to be issued. This must include Aadhaar, LIN, and UN details, and the registration shall be done through the Shram Suvidha online portal, and also annual free medical checks for workers over age in hazardous industries mandatory, and overtime limit has been capped at 125 hours, and they have to employer can maintain the records digitally, and also they have covered dock workers, journalists, interstate migrant workers, and contract labor under the new rule, and also daily working hours limited to 8 hours, and weekly working hours is limited to 48 hours, and interforest is 5 hours. After continuous working hours of 5 hours, the employer must give the interforest for half an hour, and your spread over hours has been limited, which includes daily working hours, overtime hours, and interforest shall not get exceed 12 hours. As you aware that the online system of filing this year has been upgraded now, version 3.0, to ensure smooth digital transition for employees. The due date for filing this year for the September 2025 wage month has been extended from the 15th October 2025 to 22 October 2025. Jammu and Kashmir Labour and Employment issued a new guidelines for the women working during the night shift. So after Rule 88, they have inserted a rule called Rule 88A. As per the new conditions, if any women employee working beyond 7 p.m., they must provide the proper consent. Employer must take the proper consent from the women employee. Employer must provide the transport facility. The safety and welfare facility has to be given for all the women employees. Adequate number of security guards shall be deployed. The establishment shall obtain the biodata of the driver. The establishment shall have control room and travel desk. Establishment shall maintain the records and furnish the returns. The government of Jharkhand issued a comprehensive guidelines for employing working during night shift between 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. This notification issued under the Section 66 of the Factory Act. As per this notification, the employer must follow several conditions when they're employing women employees during the night shift. Uh, as per the notification, mandatory written consent need to be obtained from the women employee. Employer must comply under the POSH Act and Maternity Benefit Act. The CCTV camera coverage is mandatory both in inside the premises and surrounding of the establishment. Proper and adequate lighting must be provided. Sufficient security guards must be deployed. Free transportation facility must be provided. Every vehicle must be equipped with a security facility like GPS tracking. Every vehicle must have verified security guards. No woman should be first to be picked up and last to be dropped off. At least 5 women employees should be there when women employees working during the night shift. So these are the conditions mentioned under the new guidelines. So if any employer making them to work during the night shift, they have to follow these conditions. We have two minimum wages notification. That is one from Telangana government. Recently, Telangana government has released the minimum wages notification with effective from 1st October 2025 to 31st March 2026. And if you look at the notification, the CPA increased 2 points from 1939 to 1941. However, for agricultural workers, the CPA points unchanged. All the employers from Telangana has to follow the minimum wages with effective from 1st October 2025. Can you move on to the next slide? We have minimum wages notification from the Kerala as well. The Kerala has published the minimum wages notification, which effective from 1st August 2025. For Kasargodu, highest CPA point increased, that is 486 to 492, and for Panaluru 435 to 439, and for Ernakulam it is decreased 426 to 424, and for Thiruvananthapuram stable at 464 points. Finally, quick one complaints check on recent election holiday list notifications. The several state government and union territory has published the election holiday notification. That is, one is from Bihar, Rajasthan, Jammu Kashmir, and Dadra Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. Bihar, they have declared on 6th November and 11th November. In Rajasthan, it is 11th November, and Jammu Kashmir it is 11th November, and in the Dadra Nagar Haveli it is 5th November. So every employer shall pay a holiday for all eligible voters employed in business, industrial establishment or commercial establishment. So they have mentioned very clearly only all eligible employees. For other employees, they won't get a holiday during these days, and also employer must not deduct the wages during this holiday. Now we have completed the notification. Let's move on to the complaints calendar for the month of November. The calendar has been categorized into 4 All India complaints that includes PF, ESSC and gratuity acts, state specific taxes like a professional tax and labor welfare fund, periodical returns, quarterly, half yearly and annual filings. Under the ESSC and EPF, employer must remit the before 15th of November, and also employer must file the ADLE returns. So under the ESSC Act, a monthly contribution has to be filed before 15th of November. Under EPF, monthly contribution has to be filed before 15th of November. And for the international workers, if you have any international workers, Form IW1 has to be filed. And if you have any exemption under ADLA scheme, you have to file Form 7IF before 25th of November. Move on to the next slide. Also, employer must comply under the professional tax remittances for the state of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Telangana, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Gujarat. Can you move on to the next slide? Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Punjab, and Assam, and Sikkim. The employer must remit the professional tax remittance in the month of November. Labor Welfare Fund remittance. For the state of Haryana, employer must remit before 30th of November. Under Kerala Worker Welfare Fund 2006, every employer must file the remittance and returns before 5th of November. Kerala Worker Welfare Fund Act is applicable only for Shop and Establishment Act. However, factory Kerala Labor Welfare Fund would be applicable. Can you move on? Okay. We have state-specific periodical returns. This month we have only under the NFH Act. Under the Kerala Industrial Establishment and National and Festival Holidays Act, employer must file the returns before 30th of November. And under the Orissa Industrial Establishment National Festival Holidays Act, employer must file the returns before 30th of November. Now we have reached to end of the presentation. Over to you, Vidya.
Thank you, Havyas. Thank you, Yashashri. My apologies to all the attendees for the slight technical issues that we faced in between. Yashashri, thank you for taking over while we fixed Havyas's issues. In the meantime, we can quickly go into the Q&As, question and answers. Please type in your questions while the team would look to answer all the questions that are there. In case there are questions that the team is not prepared to answer, we will definitely do our research and publish an FAQ like last time and circulate it to all the participants who are there. So, Havyas, Yashashri, there are some questions that are coming in. Have a look and see if you can answer these, or you want to park it for later on.
I will take the question from Deepak. Is IW return applicable if there is no international workers? Yes, employer must file the nil returns. Even though you don't have the international workers, employer must file the nil returns.
Whether Goa question is asked, whether the information or any intimation to the Department of Goa, like Maharashtra, whether the threshold limit is 20 or more. So the key change, that increase in the threshold of the applicability is to the Factories Act. So they have made it accordingly, where old threshold was 10 or more, and now post amendment it is 20 or more. The requirement specifically or mandatory is any premises that meet the new definition of the factory crossing 20 workers, the threshold with the power, must apply for registration and licensing under the section 6 of the Factories Act, and with the inspection and the inspectorate of the factories and the boilers. So other statutory compliance that comes with Form 11 or 17, Section 51, working hours, etc. This is a statutory compliance. As soon as you get eligible for this, the other compliance has also to be followed. Also, we have received a question regarding OTRs, overtime hours limit increase in Haryana's factories. So, the factories ordinance, where 155 hours per quarter was given, which has now increased to 144 hours per quarter. This was approved by Cabinet on 3rd November. It will be notified through an official gazette soon on the website.
So I will take the question from Dinesh. Okay, as per the recent notification issued by the EPFO, whether Form 5A to be displayed in all locations or only to display in corporate office. So there is no clarity in the notification whether you need to display in the head office or all the branches of the establishment. So, however, it's advisable to display in all the branches of the establishment.
Please keep the questions coming if you have any. Happy to take these. These would be learnings for us, as well as a chance for our legal team to deep dive on these questions. So uh, please keep the questions coming. If you have anything to do with labor laws in India, may not be specific to last month's notifications, but even for labor laws in general, we are happy to answer those questions. We can take it up separately if our team can't answer it right away. We will take it up separately, but we will definitely come back to you with every answer. Any other questions? Else we can call it a day. We'll wait for 2 more minutes. If there are no other questions, we will call it a day.
So we have private security agency related question about the display. So key requirement under section 12 is given it, which mandates that every private security agency must grant a license and shall be displayed prominently at its principal place of business. Wherever this displays that comes into picture as in compliance, whether it is on entrance or any other thing, the inspector this is a practical approach which I am saying right now. The inspector, when it is asked for, it is readily available and displayed or accessible to the employees working there, is their basic need. So Act also specifies the same. We have received one revised PF advance eligibility details. We would like to work and research on it specifically and then share out through FAQs.
Some of the PF advance eligibility queries were there on the while we were presenting the slide, but what we'll do is we will elaborate more on this and put it in the FAQs and share it across.
Sure.
Someone has asked where we can get updated minimum wage details for all states. You can write to us. If we can definitely consider supporting you with the data for the minimum wages.
The PF advance eligibility details we can share. However, it is in the draft. Actually, it is not notified yet because the government has to make the amendment for current provision. Currently, we have 13 withdrawal rules. So, however, whatever mentioned in the bill, definitely we can share with you.
We have received a question where update about the minimum salary details have been asked for all states. We would appreciate if you specify states to us. That will be much easier.
I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to joining this webinar. We look forward to seeing you and hosting you again for the next edition, which would tentatively happen either on 2nd or on 4th of December. Thank you so much. Take care. Wish you all the best. Bye.